I have been drinking and I just finished watching High School Musical, so perfect time to start this book. Let's see what our little drunk bastard friend is up to.
He has a hometown sweetheart named Lenore. Are they going to take Lenore away from him? I mean, I know the answer to that's yes, because she's not in the future books. That's going to be the problem with reading this entire thing, is that I know how his life ends up in the future. So every moment of possible happiness, I'm going to be sitting in that moment and going, this is all going to come crashing down.
I have also forgotten that he was in the 50th Hunger Games, so they take twice as many kids, and he has a brother. Again, I'm almost positive that brother is not alive in the future, so either he gets chosen or something happens to him in between. God, this is going to be so depressing. He's 16 years old, and he helps this lady make moonshine, and it's his birthday today, so she gave him a pint of the moonshine, and he said, I'm not a drinker myself, so I'll just give it to somebody else. He's not a drinker yet. I'm going to go to sleep. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to sleep. I definitely stopped reading at a good spot last night because he keeps making promises to people as if nothing is going to happen to him, and something is going to happen to him. That's kind of the whole premise of the fucking book. They picked the people who were going into the Hunger Games, and Haymitch wasn't one of them. That's not possible.
One of the boys tried to run and got shot in the head. Oh my god. So that's how Hamish gets picked. Fucking cool.
This is so stupid. Haymitch's name wasn't picked. He messed up, pissed off a peacekeeper, and so they decided to pick him to go into the reaping. And you know who assisted with all of this? My buddy, my pal, who I actually liked, Plutarch Havensby. And so his younger brother or the love of his life wasn't picked. So where are they in the future? Do they just leave him after he wins? Or do they die some other tragic death that I have to live through?
I always love this part of these books where I get to sit inside of the character's head and hear about all the things they'll never get to do again. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? I'm having a good time. Are you having a good time? Really, though, one of the best parts of these books is always when they get onto the train after being selected and, being ripped away from their families. They're showered with really nice clothes and amenities and food that they've never had before. And you're like, oh, I mean, at least for a week of their life, they're treated like actual human beings before they get slaughtered. Does it make up for being slaughtered? No. But if you know that you're going to die and it can't be avoided, it's a nice perk.
You know what I don't want to do? I don't want to memorize another book full of names of people that are just going to die. We might have to work out a numerical system or something to figure this out. They are conveniently broken up into districts, so I might just call them their district number. See, look, Haymitch understands me.
48 kids. Minus 1. I will never remember all of their names.
I agree, there are too many of them. Forgot to mention, one of them already died. I'm going to guess 6 of them die before the Hunger Games even start.
The difficulty of this book is that you constantly have to remind yourself that you're not allowed to like people. And I don't just mean the capital pieces of shit who are actively ruining the lives of all of the tributes. I mean the tributes. There's 48 of them in this book, double the usual number. And you'll go, that's a nice person. They did a nice thing. They have a kind heart. I hope they perform well. And then it dawns on you. None of them are making it out alive. Only Haymitch, which we are happy about. But the whole thing is just a kick in the face.
See, and this is what I mean. This book is the worst trip down memory lane that I could possibly imagine. It's just full of a bunch of people that I have watched die. And some of those people, I was happy that they died, like President Snow. But Mags, Beatty, Wyrus, they're in this because they had won previous Hunger Games. And so they're mentors to the new people who are coming in. And you'd think that it'd be like, hey, it's really nice to see them in a situation in which they're not in the arena and being violently murdered. But that's not really the case. All I can think about is them being violently murdered.
Okay, end of part 1. There's 3 parts in this book, so we're about the 30% mark. And there's something really comforting in knowing that Snow is still a bag of dicks. It also, however, brings up my first negative points about this book, which I am highly enjoying, by the way, but I'd rather do some of these thorough line heres instead of just spouting a bunch of bad stuff at the end. The negative point is the same thing that I brought up in A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. In my opinion, Suzanne Collins tries way too hard to connect the past and the present in a way that it's so on the nose. It's not subtle at all. And it pulls me out of the story because I don't feel like this thing is naturally happening. I just feel Suzanne's hand gliding over the paper. which has to do with Snow, because Haymitch has met Snow. Plutarch went and got Haymitch out of bed, brought him to his house where Snow was waiting. And they start having a conversation about the trinket that Snow was given by his girlfriend back home. Snow notices an inscription on it and basically alludes that he knows who made it. And in a roundabout way, he starts talking to Haymitch about what it's like to date somebody from the Covey, which is the place that Lucy Gray Baird is from in District 12. It's a group of people. And the whole time that I'm reading this, I'm sitting here going, so the president of the entire nation is sitting here talking to this lowly District 12 boy. He's inquiring about his love life based on initials on a trinket he's wearing. My whole point is that it doesn't feel natural. And I understand that it's supposed to be a point where the reader goes like, oh, I know who he's talking about. It's supposed to be that full circle moment for the people who did read the other books. But when I read it, all I read is like, oh, that's Suzanne Collins. It doesn't keep me in the book. It pulls me very much out of it. It's a conversation that would never actually happen.
Now, beyond that, the book is a little repetitive because it is the Hunger Games. They go through the same cycles over and over again. So a lot of what we saw with Katniss is obviously being seen with Haymitch here. But the individual details, a lot of the people involved, and the games themselves, I expect to be different, which we will find out about in part 2.
Okay, sorry, but negative point number 2. The mentor, Beatty, is currently trying to convince Haymitch to break into the underground area of the Colosseum to flood the whole Colosseum. They want to break it to give him an advantage in winning. And it's like, I don't think this is a part of the story. This is not what I want. What I want is a straight up Hunger Games with Haymitch. Why does it have to be some big giant conspiracy? It feels like she thinks she has to escalate what's happening because the conspiracy is what happened at the end of the original Hunger Games trilogy. Just give me book 1, The Hunger Games, but with a Haymitch. I don't need a giant government conspiracy to keep me hooked.
Haymitch got a 1. You know, like how the game makers will rate each tribute in terms of like how much they impressed them through the interviewing process? Haymitch got a 1. The highest score you could get is a 12. So it wasn't the best. For comparison's sake, Katniss got an 11. And this also affects people willing to sponsor you, because why would people throw money at somebody who is definitely going to die? So he's kind of like up Schitt's Creek without a paddle right now.
Oh, okay. So, all right, we knew that Plutarch was eventually going to be a good guy, right? Because he helps the rebels later on down the line. We know that he works for District 13. But I didn't know that at this current time that he was a rebel. So he just got a phone call between Haymitch and his love back home. And he did that to try and establish a rapport with Haymitch to say like, hey, I'm on your side, you can trust me. Now, unfortunately, that does mean that Plutarch is in on this whole like destroy the Capitol thing right now, which I don't really love because it plays up this overarching master scheme that I'm not a big fan of. I really hope that y'all know what I mean by that. It's just, to me, the big overarching master scheme was Hunger Games books 1, 2, and 3. I don't want it here. This is 20 years before Katniss. I just wanted a regular Hunger Games where I watch Haymitch fight to the death and win, and then I cry. I don't need a government conspiracy. The games have begun, and immediately 18 people are dead. Haymitch didn't stick around for the cornucopia, so he didn't see any of it happen, but 18 cannon shots have gone off in the first 30 minutes of this Hunger Games. I was wrong. I did say that I thought 6 people were going to die before the Hunger Games even started. Not true. That one person I mentioned was the only one. Anyways, in a normal Hunger Games where there were only 24 people, 18 would be a lot. In this Hunger Games where there's 48 people, not a lot whatsoever. There's still 30 left. I know this isn't the really negative thing that anybody wants to think about, but could you imagine being one of these people and there's 48, and so your family and friends are all watching and they're like, come on, I'm rooting for you. And then, and then in the first 5 minutes, you're dead. Not only are you dead, but they watched it happen. That would suck. God, that would suck. You didn't even allow them time to hope. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. You just get it done with early on and let your family start the grieving process.
Everything's poisoned? What do you mean? If he can't drink the water, if he can't eat the rabbits and whatever else, how is anybody supposed to survive? My man has a backpack with 4 potatoes and a dream. What is he supposed to do with that? He can't eat the charcoal tablets every single time he needs to take a drink. Is this just going to be the shortest Hunger Games of all time? Everybody just dies of poison?
All right, we are nearing the end of part 2, and you might be thinking, hold the fuck up. You haven't talk to us about anything. That's because this whole second portion has been aimed at him blowing up this water reserve thing, which I just don't give a fuck about. And I've been trying to think about like why I don't care about this at all. And I think the reason for it is because I know in my bones that it doesn't matter. I think it was the second Hunger Games book, Catching Fire, that we discovered how Haymitch's Hunger Game ends. It doesn't have anything to do with this. And this is an interesting study case on like how preconceived notions and desires affect our enjoyment with a book. Because what I wanted this book to be was a huge character study on all of the people involved. I wanted Suzanne Collins to get me so attached to these people and then have them ripped away one by one from Haymitch to turn him into the drunk bastard friend that I love and who my heart breaks for. And everything that's happening right now just isn't that. We have hardly seen anybody in the actual arena itself. He was with somebody, yes, and that person died, but it wasn't like Katniss and Rue, or even the gut-wrenching time of like seeing Peeta wake up in the hospital after they had like mind-fucked him into where he hates Katniss with every fiber of his being. It isn't anything to that extent. It was just like, okay, another person died. So I don't hate it by any means. I'm enjoying it. It just isn't the gut-wrenching, like a highly emotional book that I thought it would be.
Well, things ramped up really fast from that last clip because he's being attacked. Was just running through the forest and somebody swiped a sword at his head. He killed a man. Oh, and it's one of those jackasses, the careers. He killed another one. He doesn't really seem to care that he killed a guy. That's a surprise. Okay, so Maisley just killed Panache, and I think that this is where we know how the Hunger Games ends. I think it's Maisley and Haymitch who go through the jungle together. And that was the scene that we saw in Catching Fire, where they team up together until the end. And that would make sense, because we don't have all that much left.
You know things are bad when the highlight of your day is drinking a glass of grape juice with your mortal enemy. I don't have a last will and testament. I should probably get on that, but I want it here known on record that if my life ever gets that bad in any capacity, just fucking kill me. I guess in Haymitch's defense, he does want to die. He never really thought he was going to make it out of this, so.
It has taken me way too long to figure out that the theme of this book is fucked up animals. And hey, I'm not a fan. We have ladybug mosquitoes. We have porcupines with knives on their backs. We have butterflies that'll set you on fire. Is nothing sacred in this world? Huh? Ladybugs? Y'all may not know this because you have seen me be a huge fan of death over this past year. Love it when a death happens. But I don't do blood. I don't like it. It weirds me out. I could never be a doctor. To have these ladybugs that have these giant needles on them that attach themselves to human beings and suck the blood from them, that's my nightmare. And for the record, porcupines are weird as is. You don't need mutated ones.
They killed a game maker. Why did I not know that that was an option? These two, like, peons, they're very low on the totem pole, were actually in the arena trying to fix something, and they stumbled across them. And our contestants just up and killed them. I bet that felt nice.
So I haven't mentioned this to you yet, but this girl that Haymitch is running around with, Maisley, starting back before the Hunger Games even began, she has been hinting that Haymitch's love back in District 12 is maybe a bad person, or she has secrets or something to that effect. And I don't love this. This is really putting me on edge because I can't imagine what it is, but I know it has to be bad enough to be the bombshell that's going to drop at the end of this. I think it's going to be the reason why Haymitch and her don't end up together long term. I think my biggest issue right now is like, why isn't Haymitch asking more questions about this? And it's probably because he trusts her. You know, they've got a great relationship and stuff. That's going to turn out to be a bad instinct. And I really want to know what it is. What do you think that they're like, maybe she's working for the Capitol? No, it's not that. She's Covey. She have a thing going on with District 13? I don't know what else would be big enough for it to like be a big deal. It either is on the Capitol side or it's got to do with District 13. I don't know what in the middle it could be. Unless she's like cheating on it, but that's stupid. She's not going to write that in there. We're back on the floor for some tummy time because Maisley just died. And she has been, without a doubt, the best character work in this entire book. This one stings. And immediately after she died, or I guess while she was dying, Haymitch looks down at her and goes, I'm going to do everything that I can to get back at the Capitol. And as odd as this sounds, that just doesn't mean a lot to me right now. Because nothing changes. That's what has been his goal this entire time. This whole time he has been in the Hunger Games, he has believed that he is not going to be able to win because Snow is going to kill him for the things he has done to make the Capitol look like a fool. And in this moment that is very emotional because Maisley died, it has zero impact on the story as a whole because there is no narrative change. And this is my fucking problem with how she has chosen to write this book. I'm sorry, I know that I'm the hater guy right now, but I just cannot get this out of my head. If Plutarch and Beatty and all of them never bring Haymitch into their whole grand scheme of taking down the Capitol, which by the way, he's like a 16-year-old who they don't know who Plutarch is basing his ability to live on. Like if Haymitch says anything, if he fucks up, Plutarch dies. Beatty dies. Wirus dies. Anyways, if they choose not to bring him in, and we don't 100% know that they are in on this whole like destroy the Capitol thing, and this is just a regular Hunger Games where Haymitch is going in and it's very people oriented, and we got to see throughout the entire games him get close to people and see those people ripped away. This would have been the perfect moment for him to shift gears into being fuck them, I'm gonna do everything I can to take down the Capitol, and then you have a bomb be able to drop at the end of the book where we see everything that starts to unfold later on in the books where he teams up with Wirus and Beatty and Plutarch and all of them. I will die on the hill that it should not have happened at the beginning of the book. This should have been the setup as a true prequel at the end of the book to launch everything that happens in the 4 that we have after. 3 that we have after. You know what I mean? It's a prequel that relies way too heavily on the knowledge of what already happens in the later books. And I narratively disagree with it. So with my little bitch fest over, I think there's 3 people left and we know how it's going to end. It's still gonna hurt, I think. But there's also a lot of time left in this book, and I'm curious to see how much time we get with him after the Hunger Games ends, because I think it's gonna end in the next chapter or 2. And there's like 5 chapters left. Long chapters. It happened. The axe scene where it goes over the edge and then the force field sends it back up, careening into the girl's face. I cannot wait to see that in the movie. I think that whole scene, if done well, is going to be incredible. And he's won. He's currently like kind of almost bleeding out because his guts are hanging out of his stomach. But we know, like, again, this is the downfall of this. And this is not Suzanne Collins' fault. It's just how it works with prequels. We know how it ends. We know who survives, but he won. And what the hell happens now? He's naked on a table. Not the ideal way to wake up. You would hope if you do wake up naked on a table that you at least own the table.
He's being paraded around the Capitol right now, and things are too happy. You know, like the Hunger Games just ended. He survived. He's really upset about everybody dying. He's also really worried about his family. And I'm waiting for the drinking to start. My guess right now would be that it happens at one of these after parties or something that they're taking him to. But I am actively worried about that. I'll tell you, this is the most emotional I've been about this book so far.
President Snow told him to enjoy his homecoming? What the hell does that mean? Please don't. Whatever it is, just please don't.
They're burning his fucking house down. I hate President Snow so bad. I hate him so bad. No. Fuck no. They're having to hold him down to keep from running into the burning house. And to calm him, they gave him a bottle of liquor. So the first time he drinks is to try and get over his mom and brother being burned alive. Fucking great. Great. Awesome. Cool.
They're doing the funeral for his mom and his brother? And they're burying them together because somebody came out and said just the worst fucking sentence I think I've ever heard in my entire life. He said they were clinging on to each other, so we thought we'd keep them that way. So they died. They died scared in a fire, holding each other for comfort. This fucking sucks. This sucks.
This book is about to strip me of every ounce of happiness I have ever known. Because it's too happy. He's currently running through a meadow into the arms of his love, who was just released from jail. And they're kissing and spinning, and this isn't their life. This isn't how this ends. So, I mean, what happened? She get fucking shot in the back right in front of him? Just waiting for that other foot to drop.
Snow poisoned her. Cue me playing a clip at the beginning of this book saying, hey, none of these people exist in the motherfucking future. You remember that? I remember saying it.
I was a happy person before I read books.
I had to switch scenery. I actually don't think that he has drank any alcohol yet. Upon further review, I think they gave him a sleep syrup, like a medicine of sorts. So he hasn't officially began alcoholism yet. So I get to deal with that all over again. 1 chapter to go. Hooray.
Well, that hurt my feelings. For as much as I complained throughout it, I have long held the belief that endings are the most important part of a book, and she did nail it. The beginning of this and the end of this were the emotional roller coaster that I wanted them to be. It's set up as a very personable, character-centric story. It ended as a very personable, character-centric story. It, in the middle, was a bunch of horse shit that I have told you a million times I disagree with. Which, by the way, remember how Maisley was saying that Haymitch's love Lenore, like, was maybe keeping some secrets, doing some bad things? She was a rebel. Not even for, like, District 13. She just, like, put up some graffiti to piss off the Capitol. Which I really love that aspect, is that they didn't do anything to, like, further rip the relationship of Haymitch and Lenore apart. Like, in the end, when he was drinking, like, almost to keep a relationship with her. Like, she existed in his memory still, and he would talk to her. And in some aspects, Suzanne Collins and I even agreed on the ending, because, like, Plutarch asked him to be a part of the rebellion. Yes, agreed. That should have happened only at the end. It should not have been throughout the middle of the story. So to be completely honest with you, prior to that really good ending that I enjoyed, even though it ripped my heart out, I was going to give this like a straight 3 stars. And I will allow the ending to bump it up to a 3.75. I know so many of you are going to disagree with this. I don't care. I'm going to defend the point here one more time, because if you wrap what I dislike about this up into a nice little ball, it's Suzanne Collins' crazy desire to tie the past and the present together in a way that is just so on the nose. Like, yes, the past is connected to the present, but in a butterfly effect way. The butterfly effect way is that the smallest of things can affect the future. In Suzanne Collins' world, nobody else has existed in 50 fucking years except for the people that she's previously written about. Effie Trinket was in this book. Everybody's related to the Covey. President Snow has a nice little chat with Haymitch about the Covey because he dated one of them. It's like you're allowed to create new people and new backgrounds and new lore, hardly any of which happened in this book. One of the things that I've complained about in other books, is other prequels or sequels in particular, is the difference between a book that they wrote it either for money or for fan service versus a book where the author wrote it because they had a statement they needed to make. That sure as fuck was not this. This goes over the same themes, premise, dystopian issues with fascist governments that every other book she's written has dealt with. And don't give me that whole like, oh, it's more appropriate now than ever. When she started writing this, she had no idea who was going to be president. So 3.75, thank you so much for being here. I have to do a movie following this, and this doesn't have a movie yet, so I have no idea what that's going to be. It'll be a movie that does not have a book adaptation, and hopefully something that is fun, because what the fuck? Yeah, I don't want to cry at whatever I watch. We're gonna laugh, and I'll see you at that video. Thank you for being here. And if you're looking for something to watch in the meantime, the Divergent character ranking and High School Musical live reaction is up on Patreon.